So this is the newest pickup. Picked this thing up in San Jose for $1,500 with a blown motor. Guy tried painting his surge tanks, and well, he had his buddy do it, and I guess his buddy dropped something in there. We don't know if it was a bolt or what, but he dropped it into the intake and blew the motor. So had to sell it for $1,500. Funny thing about this thing is it's actually an E500. The guy he bought it from went through all the work of converting this to an E55 instead of just buying an E55, which we all know would have been cheaper. But you could see the badge, the 500 badge on there. But he did all the work. So for the most part, this is an E55. Did notice though, not everything is E55 like the seller claimed. It actually has an E500 diff. So not everything was swapped over. I can't tell yet if the rear subframe is, well, it has to be, right? He probably just swapped over the hub spindles. I'm not too sure what the process is as far as going to the AMG brakes on these, but he did all that. Did the interior, did cluster. I'm guessing, or I should say hoping, is it was all this came off of a wrecked E55, and he just happened to have maybe this E500 sitting there with some issues. But here's the bumper. It's a little knockoff E63 bumper, which is surprisingly in decent condition. Looks a lot better than the rest of the car, but the car's all hacked up, all jank. The guy was selling it as is for $1,500 or for parts, so he already sold the SBC when we got to it, so right now it's got no brakes. And he said he had also sold, I can't remember what else he sold. It was one other thing that was pretty minor in my opinion. Maybe the intake, I think. Can't remember, but everything is there. And he said that he could, since he had a smaller pulley, the guy knew nothing about the car. Pretty much he knew it was an AMG and that's about it, and that he wanted one. But he said he was never able to find a belt this size, because obviously if you go to AutoZone, because he said he'd go to all the parts stores and he couldn't find a belt, so he ended up doing just having someone tack the clutch onto the magnet. But it's a healthy supercharger. Spins up. It's not noisy or anything right now. Maybe a little bit because it's rubbing on there, but. And he said the engine had 110,000, and honestly, it's pretty clean. I believe it. It's actually really clean. Too bad he had it sitting for like 2 weeks, and it's been super windy lately in California. As of what's today's date? The 18th. So yeah, there's a lot of like dirt and stuff like that in there. So if we end up selling the heads, because he said this side's the side that got affected, if we end up pulling this head off and seeing that it's good, we might just have to get like thoroughly cleaned. I don't know, I'm not too sure. There's not too many parts on the engine side as far as that are good. Maybe just the supercharger pulley, dual idler, supercharger itself, transmission. It's got factory cat still, which is getting harder and harder to find on these in California because everyone goes to long tubes. And then it's got obviously the AMG brakes. I'm not sure if I mentioned transmission, but transmission. And then he went to aftermarket oil cooler and oil cooler lines, so that's pretty cool. There's a little bit of money there, because out of all the things in this car, that was surprisingly done somewhat right. I'm surprised this thing isn't leaking, or I'm not sure if it is or not. I don't even know if he's got coolant in the system. I guess we'll find out later. But yeah, this car, I don't know. I can go on about how like everything that's wrong with this car. Just for example, like all the bolts for the bumpers were like different. Like, you know how like these are like a factory, I believe it's like a T25, a T30 or something like that, right here at the end when you pull off the bumper. This one had a hex on one side and then like a random T screw on this side, but then it had like a threaded insert going in from the top, from the fender down into the bumper. And like the headlight bolts were all wrong. This is the only one that I believe was factory, and then everything else was like random. Same thing with the bumper bolts up here in front. He had like random like 13 mils for the bumper bolts, and I mean usually those are, I think, 10 and 8. A lot of weird stuff going on. And then just even if you like just like looking, like look at all like these little things, like this ground strap right here. I believe this one goes to the, it's supposed to go to the AC belt, I mean the AC bolt, for the AC compressor. And it's just a ground strap to from engine to chassis. Just little things like that. And he said the car ran great, there was no check engine lights, but who knows? Like, you can't make this shit up. Like, I haven't even popped the fuse cover. Like, yeah, it's not pretty. But it's nonetheless, it's actually really cool to just look and see how people hack up their cars. Like, the poor guy was like, oh, you know, I even did underglow, because he was upset about the car. He said that someone was quoting him 1,500 for an M113k engine, which is super cheap. And then, but they were quoting him 2,000 for labor to swap it. Now that's ridiculous. I mean, I know I get it to Mercedes and all, but it really doesn't take that long to swap one of the engines over, unless you're like, you know, maybe if it was like he was swapping in like a CL55 or an S55 engine into it, then you got to swap over the upper and lower oil pans and the oil pump. You know, just there's more work involved. And then power steering, the power steering pump, because these don't have ABC, the ABC suspension, the hydraulic suspension. So, but he said it would just be a direct swap. So 2,000 is crazy. I mean, I'm pretty sure the person that quoted him didn't want to do the job and he just overbid it, but who knows? Let's see, I'll give a full walk around of the car. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. He said he couldn't get his battery died, and he said he couldn't get his truck lid open, so he ended up taking off this panel right here, and he said he's able to access this. That's how he's able to pop it. Oh, intake's in here. Nice. Money right there. Old battery, but it actually holds charge, so that's something we can put to use for sure. Probably for the winch, so that we don't have to pull off an extra good battery that we have every time we need to winch the car. But interior isn't horrible, surprisingly.
Might be optical illusion, but
No, let's take a go on the other side now. So no luck getting the rear raise with this air compressor, so we're gonna swap it out real quick with an extra and see if that does anything. Actually, no, yeah, it's still slammed. Yeah, we'll see. Let's see what works. If not, we're just gonna have to put a lot of wood on the ramps, because we kind of butchered the little underlining that runs along the sides of the car, along like parallel to the exhaust, when we were pulling it up. It was rubbing all up right there. So might just have to do that again. So I managed to get the rear to get up really high once we swapped in the air compressor from the third air compressor in, which is from that car. This side was leaking, so this side stayed slammed on the ground. It's hard to tell, but we got it done. So this one's gonna get parted out. Trying to get rid of it within a few days. We're just gonna pull the anything AMG out, and it's going to the crapper.